Hello, welcome back. In this lesson, I will explain the type of attacks that do not try to steal data, but instead aim to stop systems from working. And that attack is called denial of service. Denial of service attacks focus on overwhelming systems so that legitimate users cannot access services when they need them. Let's start with the definition. What is a denial of service attack? Denial of service attacks focus on availability. It is an attack that makes a system unavailable. It targets services, websites, or networks. It prevents legitimate users from accessing resources. And the goal is disruption, not data theft. We have denial of service attacks and we have distributed denial of service attacks. So let's look at the differences. The main difference is scale and source. A DOS, that is a denial of service attack, comes from a single source. But a DDoS, that is a distributed denial of service attack, comes from many sources. DDoS attacks use compromised devices, and the scale makes DDoS far more powerful. Let's consider why denial of service attacks happen. Attackers use denial of service attacks for different reasons. They may want to disrupt operations. They may want to cause direct financial loss for the organization. They may want to damage brand reputation and trust. And they might sometimes want to just use that to distract you or your organization from other attacks that they are launching against your business or your organization. Let's consider the common target of denial of service attacks. Denial of service attacks target services people rely on, such as websites and online platforms. These are common targets. We also have e-commerce services. These ones are frequent targets too. And we have financial and government services. They can also be attacked. Now let's consider how denial of service attacks work. DOS attacks overwhelm system capacity, and here is how it works. Attackers flood systems with traffic. After that, server resources become exhausted, network bandwidth is overwhelmed, and legitimate user requests are blocked. So legitimate users won't be able to have access to the services or the resources they need per time. Next thing we'll discuss is the distributed denial of service attack. Distributed denial of service or DDoS attacks increase power through distribution. They use many compromised devices, and these devices are often part of a botnet. And for DDoS, traffic comes from multiple locations, and this makes attack harder to block and trace. Let's consider botnets and DDoS attacks. Botnets provide attackers with scale. So you might be wondering, what is a botnet? A botnet is a combination of bots and network. So we can call it a network of bots. It's just like a network of robots that are doing something. We can plainly say a botnet is a network of infected devices, and these devices are controlled remotely by attackers. These devices often include computers and IoT devices, and they are used to launch large-scale attacks. What are the types of DOS attacks we have? DOS attacks or denial of service attacks take different technical forms. It could be traffic flooding attacks that overwhelm bandwidth. It could be protocol abuse targeted at network rules. It could be application level attacks that overload services. And it could be resource extortion that drains system capacity. What are the impacts of DOS attacks? The damage of DOS attacks is felt immediately. Services become unavailable. Revenue can be lost quickly. Customers can become frustrated, very frustrated. Reputational damage may follow as well. Let's now consider DOS attacks in alignment with the CIA triad. DOS attacks focus on one core principle. They directly affect availability, though they can indirectly affect integrity, and they are sometimes used as distractions, but availability is the main target. Here is a real-world example of how DOS attacks work. DOS attacks affect real services every day. It can make websites go offline during peak usage. Online services can remain unavailable for days due to these attacks. Government portals can be disrupted, and business operations can come to a halt. So a DOS attack is not something organizations can joke with. What are the basic DOS mitigation strategies that we have or that we can deploy? The first thing I'll mention is preparation always reduce impact. So many organizations or all organizations must be able to prepare for such to happen. They shouldn't wait until it happens before they respond. So let's consider some strategies. You can filter traffic to block malicious requests. You can use rate limiting as well. This can help you control excessive traffic. Also, redundancy and load balancing can help spread demand, and protection of services can add additional defense. Why is DOS defense challenging? Defending against DOS is not something simple because malicious traffic often looks legitimate. You may not be able to differentiate between the ones that are malicious and the ones that are not. Also, attack volume can be extremely large, and defense requires planning and resources. And lastly, external support is often needed when the attack happens. Let's take a summary of what we've learned in this lesson. In this lesson, we have explained how availability can be attacked. We have seen DOS attacks and that its aim is to disrupt access. We have seen that availability is the primary target for DOS or DDoS attacks. We've also seen that scale makes these attacks dangerous, and defense requires preparation always. What are we going to consider in our next lesson? We are going to explore web attacks, including SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and cross-site request forgery, which is CSRF. Let's now take a test together. The question is, what best explains the main goal of denial of service and distributed denial of service attacks? Pause the video, read through the options, pick your answer and drop your answer in the comments, then come back to play the video. The correct answer is B, to overwhelm systems and networks so that legitimate users cannot access services when they need them. That's all for this lesson. Please do not forget to like, share, and if you're yet to subscribe, kindly subscribe now. So thank you so much and see you in the next lesson.